Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. on Bomb1st claimed to be an expert in homosexual relationships and how they go down. You think I'm joking, huh? No, I'm serious. Listen.
You don't go and start getting undressed. And then he started getting undressed and taking his shoes off. Ain't that what he said Bun did? Start taking his shoes off and getting undressed and got in the middle of the bed between them. You know when you do that, from my expertise of knowing how stuff go down.
Let's get into some of this straight game.
Yeah. Blackjack. Life is like a game of cards. It's not what you dealt, but how you play it. Yeah. Blackjack. To play each situation correctly. I remember they used to laugh at a brother.
Welcome back, guys. Welcome back. It's your boy DELRAY, Richardson, platinum artist, platinum songwriter, Straight Game TV. Thank you for tuning in. I appreciate your time. Do me a favor and hit the thumbs up button, notification. Also, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And also, tell a friend. And like I always say, if this is your first time tuning in to Straight Game TV and you would like to be one of the first people notified when I drop some of the Straight Game, please do me a favor and hit that little bell notification right below this video. I'm going to get right into it. Ladies and gentlemen, they have tipped the scale. First, they started off by lying about Tupac. Second, they lied about Shaquille O'Neal. Third, they lied about Yasmin Fula. Fourth, they lied about how much money they were getting for their royalty checks. 5, they lied about information in regards to situations that they were not present for, telling stories as if they were telling them from a first-hand point of view, which is just an egregious lie. But this new one, it takes the cake. It takes the cake. You see, it's one thing to be thought a fool, but it's another thing to open your mouth and relieve all doubt.
Now we might have did it with a male and 2 females. I personally haven't. You know when you do that, from my expertise of knowing how stuff go down.
And you said, well, what do you mean by that, DELRAY?
Now we might have did it with a male and 2 females. I personally haven't. You know when you do that, from my expertise of knowing how stuff go down.
There was a video that Keith Murray had made and him talking about his relationship experiences and things of that nature. Keith Murray back in the 90s was on fire. You know what I mean? One of the hottest rappers, his style, you know how he came across with the Def Squad crew, Redman, Eric Sermon, and the whole 9 yards. And so Keith Murray was basically, telling his story. And then out of nowhere, out of the blue, for having lack of content and just wanting to criticize people who are making real moves in the content game in regards to YouTube, Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. would come out and make a statement, a defamatory statement, not backed by any kind of substantive information or facts. He would say that Keith Murray was gay and Eric Sermon from EPMD was gay. Let me tell you, ladies and gentlemen, that is 100% not true. And Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. has not presented not one scintilla of information to back up those egregious accusations or allegations, if you will. Just straight out defaming people, for clicks and views on YouTube. But in this recent video, after I came and I talked about the facts in which I knew meeting Keith Murray, had met Eric Sermon, and Keith Murray has kids, Eric Sermon has kids, from what I understand, and these guys, legends in hip hop, right? Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. has accomplished nothing. Absolutely, positively nothing. He's been a failure at everything that he's tried to do. And right now he's failing at this YouTube thing too, because all he continues to do is to try to critique other people's content about information that he was not there for firsthand versus people who were there firsthand. Shout out to Gully TV, because I seen that video you made and you were so on point about that. You can't speak on information against somebody who was actually there and lived it and then come back with some kind of critique of that information when you weren't there. It's that simple. But in this new video, after I made my video, basically, I wouldn't even say coming to the defense of Keith Murray and Eric Sermon. I was just basically stating my firsthand experiences and what I had when I met the guys, right? You know, briefly. I met Eric Sermon a little bit longer. We were chilling at the house up in the Hollywood Hills. And but Keith Murray, I met him briefly. Cool brothers, you know, so on and so forth. But in this recent video, Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. claimed to be an expert. Listen to me, y'all. He claimed to be an expert in homosexual relationships and how he identifies as how and what goes down.
You don't go and start getting undressed, and then he start getting undressed and taking his shoes off. Ain't that what he said Bun did? Start taking his shoes off and getting undressed and got in the middle of the bed between them. You know when you do that, from my expertise of knowing how stuff go down.
So he's went from failed police officer, failed drug dealer, failed money launderer, failed head of security at death row, and if I don't know if I mentioned failed police officer, to now a relationship expert in regards to homosexual relationships and homosexual activity in regards to Keith Murray and what the story that he was telling in regards to a situation where him and one of his buddies was trying to do something that was inappropriate while Keith Murray was talking to a young lady and they were about to, you know, get into it or whatever, right? The fact that Keith Murray even shared that proves that he had nothing to hide. If he thought that it would, you know, bring any kind of red flags as to who he was as a person and so on and so forth, I don't think he would have came out with that story, if you will, right? I give somebody a little bit more credit, you know, when they say things. With them, he wouldn't have said it if he thought that, you know, people would infer that he was, you know, something other than a man, correct? But not Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. All in the namesake of trying to have some content and have something to say, he would make that defamatory statement and comment about Keith Murray and Eric Sermon. No proof, no facts, no nothing. It's not true. I'm just going to tell you that it's not true. But he would go to those lengths to do that, right? But then in the very next video, he would claim to be an expert. This is serious, y'all. This is delusionalism at its best and at its worst. This guy's delusional. He's a fraud. He will say anything. Listen.
You don't go and start getting undressed, and then he start getting undressed and taking his shoes off. Ain't that what he said Bun did? Start taking his shoes off and getting undressed and got in the middle of the bed between them. You know when you do that, from my expertise of knowing how stuff go down.
So now, I understand the infatuation with him calling, or the interest, should I say, in him calling me gay. He said Dr. Dre. He said he called Jeannie Deal, right? He said Eric Sermon and Keith Murray. Like everybody that he's talked about has been gay, according to him, but none of them are, through any information or proof or facts that he could, you know, basically present to anybody. I kind of feel crazy making this video right now, but I had to, because he made an accusation that was so outlandish, that was so preposterous, that was so crazy. I was compelled to make this video. And I asked my some of my subscribers who might think that I've, forgive me for this, but I had to. Because a lot of people are not really listening with their third eye like they should be. And they're listening from an entertainment perspective. Ain't nothing entertaining about this. What this guy, Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. is doing, there's nothing entertaining about it. He claimed to be an expert in homosexual relationships.
Now, we might have did it with a male and two females. I personally haven't. You know, when you do that, from my expertise of knowing how stuff go down.
Your boy DELRAY. Straight game.